Okay.
Well, welcome. Thank you for
Thanks. I'm
joining
glad to
us.
be here.
It's
So, are you going to hypnotize us? Is that?
You want me to?
I don't know. I've been in one of his sessions and it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
So
Well,
tell
you've been
us.
in a group session, which are not that intense. A one-on-one session, it's actually that's intense. I just finished one right now. And I've been helping a bunch of people now with weight loss, which is really kind of cool because that kind of is pretty aligned with my past career as a Division I college track and field and cross country coach. And
Ah.
so
Oh,
it's
cool.
been a lot of fun.
Cool. Yeah. In fact, I've gone through that struggle myself, and I found, and I shared this with Mel. Mine was directly related to stress. I was athletic, in shape, and all of a sudden stress hit my life, and boy, did I gain weight. And then when stress left my life, it went right. It's going right along with it. It's not going as fast as I'd like it to, but 15 pounds in 3 weeks.
You
So
had stress in your life?
yeah,
That's a whole separate conversation, Robert.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Stress, unfortunately, is a part of life.
Yeah.
And so
So
learning how,
they used to confuse Brad Pitt and myself before my stress kicked in, but
well,
you know,
I thought that's who you
every
were.
once in a while Clooney, sometimes in the right light, but not so much anymore.
Okay.
So
All right.
So tell us how tell us what you're a hypnotherapist, correct?
I am a certified master hypnotherapist. Yes.
Okay, and so what does that mean?
Well, what it really means is that I get to help people accomplish their goals and to go beyond the limiting sort of beliefs, not even really beliefs, the limitations that were put into their subconscious by a parent, a teacher, a coach, a clergyman when they were small, 5 years old plus or minus. And we don't realize the impact that our childhood really has on us. And we try to, at a conscious level, we try to, on a conscious level, to overcome a lot of the things that are from our past. And it turns out that conscious part of your mind, the conscious part of your brain, is only about 12% of your mind. And there's some research that suggests it's as little as 5%. So your subconscious mind is 88 plus percent of your mind. And between birth and about 8 years old or so, all the things that you see and experience get stored in your subconscious, sort of without filter. And we have these positive experiences and we have negative experiences, and they all get stored there. At about 8 years old or so, we develop what we call the critical mind or the analytical mind. It's when you've matured enough where you can decipher and decide for yourself what's true and not true. So, about then is when people say, I no longer believe in Santa Claus. Up till then, their conscious mind just says, oh yeah, someone told me that, so it must be true. So it gets stored there. So after about 8 years old, between 8 years old and puberty, about 12 or 13, we develop this critical mind, which acts as a filter. And we decide what's true in our minds, not necessarily real truth, but in our minds,
Right,
what's
that's
true, and
true.
it gets stored there. We have thousands, literally thousands of positive experiences and thousands of negative experiences. And then as we become adults, they impact the way that we show up. And the best example I have is in our family, my parents are from Hungary. And growing up, my sister and I always wanted to have a dog. And my dad said he didn't like dogs. We could never have a dog. So we never had a dog growing up. And it was many years later, we were back home in the old country in Budapest at my sister was hosting a family reunion. And there was dogs running all over the place. And I just kind of remarked, wow, how come your family got to have dogs? We never had dogs. And she said, well, I know why. And everyone turned to look at her and said, well, why? She said, when your dad was 5 years old, he was bitten by a dog.
oh,
He didn't even remember it when she said it. Most things in our subconscious we don't remember. but they impact the way we show up, and it impact us in a maybe not so important kind of way, but maybe it was important because in my then growing up, most of the time, my kids wanted a dog and I didn't want one. I couldn't tell them why. I didn't like dogs.
Well, that's, yeah.
It wasn't till my, at that time, wife brought home a dog and it was in the garage and the kids are feeding them and loving on them. They go, shoot, I mean, like, how am I going to send this dog away now? They just went and did it without me. But it's a really good
yeah.
illustration of the things that happen in our life, and that they mostly hold us back from accomplishing a lot of the things that we want to. And we set these conscious goals to do this or do that or do another thing. And then we wonder why we don't accomplish them. In general, they all boil down to something happened in our subconscious that sabotages you. And so as a hypnotherapist, I've learned to be able to bring people and hypnotize people. Hypnosis only means that you put in a state where you're the most open to suggestions. And we just put people into a deep sleep. You're not really sleeping. You could hear everything I'm saying. And then we suggest things that come from the client into their subconscious, into that other 88+% of their mind, so we can either strengthen a positive experience in their subconscious, weaken, lessen, or eliminate a negative experience, or create a whole new experience in the mind, because the mind doesn't know whether it's real or imagined.
So I got a question. So these negative experiences which would hold us back,
Yes.
is that the frame that you were talking from in the childhood that would affect us in our adult lives? So you would go back and try to find what it was, whether it's a dog bite, whether it was a catastrophic event that happened in childhood that is like a suppressed memory. So
Yeah.
is the process as you go and find that and try to eliminate it, or what is that? What does that
That's
look
a
like?
really, really good question. Typically, we don't go back to find what it was, okay, because that's not really what's important. What we want to do is be looking forward. And so we're putting in the new suggestions that are going to serve the client. When you play with sort of the past, and it's called circle therapy, you're sort of in a dangerous area because you could be reinforcing that actual experience. Because every time you relive an experience, it reinforces, creates the neural pathways in your mind that makes it more and more real.
Yeah.
That's why, it's often said that pain is inevitable in our life and suffering is optional. We have painful things in our life that happen, and then we replay it over and over and over and over again. And every time we play it over and over again, we're reinforcing that into our subconscious. That's what we've got to eliminate. That's where we want to cut it. So typically we don't go backwards to try to figure it out. We just acknowledge that it exists, and then we replace it with things that serve the client.
So it's kind of like breaking a vicious cycle.
It is.
Replay
and also teaching the client on how they can start to do it for themselves. So we'll hypnotize and put people in hypnotherapy, but we're also teaching them self-hypnosis kind of things. And a key part of that is what I call the consciousness exercise, or becoming aware of your own thoughts, the own things that you say, and learning to recognize them and just saying, stop, cancel. So if I say, I can't do this, stop, cancel, and say, I can do this. Because every time you say it, every time you think it, you're creating another memory into your subconscious that doesn't serve you. So it's engaging your conscious mind as well as your subconscious mind, so that working in concert, you could achieve the goals that you set out to do.
Yeah. You wouldn't do anything drastic like suggest the person start liking canned peas or anything like that.
Well, again, with professional hypnotherapy, we are under a code of ethics that we just listen to the client. And I take really good notes, and whatever they say, almost the best way to do it, if you can take their exact words to put in their subconscious.
All right.
So there are stage hypnotists that can make you run around like a duck or quack like a chicken, or I said that the opposite way. That's not what we do with hypnotherapy. With
Mhm.
hypnotherapy, we are here to serve and to serve the client and help them accomplish whatever they want to accomplish. The health well-being of the client is utmost. The mental health that you guys are talking about, the physical
Yes.
health,
Mhm.
those are important things to me. They're important things to you. And that's why I wanted to reach out to you guys and say, hey, here's another tool that people can use that I found to be super powerful. And I come from the Tony Robbins world. I'm a senior leader there, and he uses a version of this. And now that in Joe Dispenza does the same kind of thing. I actually graduated from the same school that Joe Dispenza graduated from, which is the world's foremost hypnotherapy school. And I'm finding that I could just help a lot of people. And so I thought I was going to really miss coaching my athletes and Pepperdine University, and before that in high school, and I just love being with the kids. And I'm finding that this new avenue is just amazing, because literally everyone that comes to me really wants to be there. There's maybe 10-20% of the athletes that really want to be there, that'll listen to an adult who really wants to do more than just coach them athletically, but wants to teach them life skills that are going to really help them. But in this field, it's really great because everyone that comes to me actually really wants to make some great
So
gains.
yeah, it's change.
Yeah.
It's
And
change, yeah.
a couple of questions here about logistics. So a person is considering this, and they're saying, gosh, probably this is what will help me. Um, how long of a session is this? What should they expect? Does it depend on the
The
problem that they're
framework.
having, the framework,
Yeah,
or what can they expect when they
yeah.
engage someone like
It,
you?
it, good question. Depends on first of all the hypnotherapist that you select. There are people out there that are saying they're hypnotherapists that go to like a weekend school, and you know they probably have a process that I don't know, but it's probably not too rigorous. The people like myself that have gone through an 18-month program that's 20 to 40 hours a week, and several hundred hours worth of internship. It's like a master's degree in hypnotherapy. What you'd expect from a real professional would be in a first session. First session is about an hour and a half, because we teach the theory of the mind. We teach them a little bit more about hypnosis. We tell them that everyone is hypnotizable. We do some of the things that we've been talking about here, just to create rapport and confidence and belief, and allowing them to sort of surrender to the process. Because some people, want to check it out and they're not really serious. They want to check it out, see if they can be hypnotized.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
After that, sessions are usually about 50 minutes to an hour. Sometimes I go over, they're supposed to be less than an hour, but whatever it takes for each client. The number of sessions depend on the presenting issue that people have. There are certainly some people that one time I can help them overcome, say, smoking. Let's take smoking as an example. It can take anywhere from one session to about 6 sessions for smoking cessation. And hypnotherapy is actually has the highest percentage success rate and lowest recidivism, if I'm saying that correctly, for smoking cessation. So it's pretty cool. I'm doing a weight loss program now with a group of people, and it's one of the harder things. And it takes a minimum of 9 to 12 weeks to make permanent weight loss, successes there,
So it's
and
9 to
everything in
12
between.
weeks of how many, an hour of
Weekly.
sessions, a
Well, a
weekly?
weekly for the weight loss, we're
Right.
doing a weekly 1 hour session,
Hmm.
but that's about the longest one that I've
So,
got.
Now in this, go ahead.
oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
wanted to ask you, gearing towards mental health and PTSD, and especially now with coronavirus, we're seeing more and more uh, mental health issues arising.
Yep.
So, can you speak a little bit to that and how this might be able to help?
Sure. First of all, let me say this about mental health. I'm very familiar with it because it's within our family, and I've been a volunteer for NAMI
Yes.
for several years, and so I'm pretty familiar with it. Again, within hypnotherapy, when we have a medical issue, we have to have a medical referral. So if someone has a diagnosed medical issue, We need to get a referral so that whoever they're working with knows and it feels comfortable with working with the hypnotherapist. That's
Good to
first
know.
and
So,
foremost.
like depression is a diagnosed.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So you won't want to do anything that's contrary to what the doctor, or the psychiatrist or psychologist is doing. So you always want to be a team with them. But specifically right now around COVID, one of the interesting things is that actually the school that Joe Dispenza and I both graduated from is called HMI, Hypnosis Meditation Institute. All the graduates have to go through a pretty intensive internship, and we offer free hypnotherapy for anyone that wants to check it out. And so there's been kind of a big push for helping anyone that has fears around, the coronavirus, or because of the loss of jobs,
Yes.
or what family situation. There's all sorts of things that not just the virus itself, but the consequences of it that people are having to deal with. You talk about stress. It's been stressful for a lot of people, and I've found that it's been really wonderful. Maybe 25% of my clients are that way. Because I'm involved with the Tony world and the Joe Dispenza world, a lot of the people are already in a growth mindset and just don't have as significant fears around coronavirus as maybe the normal population might have. But it's certainly a wonderful way to do it. And, it's just mind over matter is what we're teaching people to do.
I think that's super important.
Can any of these, can a session be done by a Zoom?
Yeah, it's one of the cool things that's happened is that I had hoped right before the coronavirus hit, I had hoped that I was getting ready to start my internship. I had hoped that one day I was going to be a good enough hypnotherapist that I'd be able to do sessions via Skype. I hadn't even heard of Zoom yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I heard that if you're, 5, 10, 15, 20 years as a hypnotherapist, that you could do it over Skype. But when I went into my internships right as soon as the pandemic hit, so literally I had to do hypnosis from the start via Zoom. And surprisingly to me, it works as well as in
Wow.
person. I have clients all over the world. So there was one day I remember I had a client. I started with a client in Belgium, and then I went to the US, and then Canada, then Mexico, then Colombia. Then I had one in Bali, in New Zealand, and Australia, all
Well,
in
now
one
you
day.
have to go meet them all.
Well, or they can come
Yeah, there
visit
you
me.
go.
But I even hypnotized a dog in Australia over Zoom to
A
stop barking.
dog?
A dog. Yeah, I had a client there that was a cancer patient, and I was helping her with her issues. And one day she accidentally had her little dog in the room with her. And in order for you to do it, you need to be in a place where you're not disturbed. And she didn't get rid of her dog. I said, put that dog up on you, and I'm going to hypnotize it. And in the meantime, in my mind, I'm sitting there going, like, I know you could do this. I don't know how to do it. While I'm Googling how to hypnotize a dog. And what popped up, it was so great. The world's foremost cat and dog hypnotherapist is an instructor at HMI. And I'm reading the instructions as she's getting ready. And then I just went through and did the script, and boom, the dog was out. And the next day she posted on her Facebook site, she had a video of her sitting with her dog next to her, and said, for 10 years now, my husband, every Saturday, he goes out for a 3-hour bike ride. It's my worst time of the week because Princeton, my dog, barks nonstop while my husband is gone. And now today is the first day. Princeton's sitting next to me as quiet as can be. I'm at peace, thanks to Robert Radnoti. It was like the coolest thing, the best testimonial I could ever have.
Awesome. Oh,
I don't
man.
want that to become my expertise, but it's pretty
No.
cool. You can hypnotize, and honestly, it's been pretty easy.
See if I can get Dexter to stop snoring.
His dog.
Yeah, my
Uh-huh.
dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else? Anything else that we should know?
Just that there are good hypnotherapists out there. And I just encourage people that don't know or haven't experienced it. Most hypnotherapists will do a complimentary session, including myself. I have a website, Radnoti Hypnosis, or robertradnoti.com, and it directs you to how to get a complimentary session. And so for people that are just curious, great, come try it out. I'm not the only one that does it. And I've just found it to be super successful. It's being used essentially. The techniques are being used by people like Joe Dispenza and Tony Robbins and all the people that are involved with personal development, whether it's around sports performance, around anxiety, performance, eating, getting rid of a habit, getting rid of fears. There's just so many things that you could do. I worked with a few people that were going into surgery, and we were able to reduce their medication, increase their recovery, times, things like that, and reduce the anxiety that people had around surgeries. So there's all sorts of great reasons to try out hypnotherapy.
So we will post where to find you.
Okay.
When we air this.
Okay.
And a couple of takeaways: always check the accreditation.
Yes.
Right. If you are suffering any form of physical or mental illness, make sure that your doctor is on board, correct?
If it's a medical issue, then the hypnotherapist needs to require a medical referral.
Okay.
It's a form that I send to people.
Got it. So those are, like, I feel, the two most important things.
Yeah.
And
But to me, the most important thing is people got to be open to it. Every single person is hypnotizable, but you got to be open to it. And I guess I didn't even realize that people had an issue with it, because I've been a coach for much of my adult life. And we use these techniques all the time without having called them hypnotherapy. I was always doing visualization from the sports world, and, whether it's hitting a tennis serve or, putting on a golf course or kicking a football, hitting a baseball, skiing downhill, visualization's a good part of hypnotherapy. But to do it into the subconscious, not just at the conscious level, you're getting your whole mind and increasing the probability of success. And that to me is just brilliant, because that's what we're all wanting to do. That's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why we're here to help people, to heal people, to make them more successful, and to do it in as short a time as possible. And quite truthfully, I just haven't found anything that short circuits as quickly as hypnotherapy does.
So would it be ethical to have you come on our show and hypnotize all of our listeners to tell their friends and their family and all the people in the world to listen to our show?
No, it wouldn't be ethical to do that, but I'd be happy to come on your show and hypnotize a person, maybe one of you two or one of your audience members. I've done this several times.
That'd be great.
That has a presenting issue that we could work through, and that people could just witness it, experience it, can get a sense for what it is. And then if they wanted to try something, they could find themselves a hypnotherapist. If people have fear around it. I've never had a fear around it. I'm willing to try a lot of different things to increase my performance, but I'm looking for high performance people to work with.
Oh, awesome.
Well, I have to say, Robert, thank you so much.
Yes, definitely.
For coming on our health and wellness segment. You're just a delight. And I really learned a lot, and I know you did too. And maybe we'll have you as a reoccurring. How do you feel about that?
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
I love doing this. It's certainly part of my mission is to help inspire and heal people wherever, whenever I can.
I know that about you. You have such a kind heart too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Take care.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Up Next with Bill and Mel is brought to you by Dutch Farms, Graham Financial and Wealth Management, Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorneys, Sip Coffee, Tiger Plumbing, and Executive Suite Squared in beautiful Hammond, Indiana, home of Up Next with Bill and Mel.